Good afternoon and welcome. Bienvenue. Wuliwan Bedabujeg. Before we get started, I will acknowledge some of our important guests, as well as the land on which we gather. And it's my great pleasure to warmly welcome Chancellor Alison McCain, President Mazerolle, Chief Justice of New Brunswick, the Honourable Marc Richard, the Honourable Tracy Dwyer, Chief Justice of the Court of King's Bench, the Honourable Ted Fleming, Attorney General of New Brunswick, MLA David Kuhn, and Mayor Kate Rogers. To members of the UNB Board of Governors, representatives of the law societies, representatives of the law foundations, distinguished members of the legal community and judiciary, alumni and friends, faculty, staff, and my fellow students, thank you all for joining us. Bonjour et bienvenue à tous et à toutes. Je suis ravi de vous accueillir ici de la part de la Faculté du droit. Également, c'est avec beaucoup de plaisir cet après-midi pour moi de vous joindre en cette occasion spéciale. We respectfully acknowledge that UNB stands in the unsurrendered and unceded traditional Wolastoqey land. The lands of the Wabanaki people are recognized in a series of peace and friendship treaties to establish an ongoing relationship of peace, friendship, and mutual respect between nations. The river that runs by our university is known as Wolastoq, along which Wolastoqey, the people of the beautiful and bountiful river, live. Today we are delighted to welcome so many distinguished Faculty of Law, alumni, and members of the legal community to join our faculty, staff, and students for this official unveiling of UNB Law's strategic plan, an update on our current accomplishments and our aspirations for the future. So thank you for being here today. Now, by this point, you might be wondering who I am. I'm Mark Brown. I am a third-year student here at the Faculty of Law, and it's my great pleasure to have been asked to MC this event. So, in other words, I am the conductor of this train for the next 90 minutes. So, we're delighted to have you here with us. Now, I could tell you where I'm from, but usually something else gives it away. In fact, it was just a couple days ago, I went for a checkup, and the nurse came in the office, and we exchanged some pleasantries, and she says, "You must be from Newfoundland." And I said, "Yes, I am." And she says, "My father was a pastor there, a few years before I was born." And I don't think that was yesterday exactly. And so she says it was in a little tiny town called Marystown. She said, "Are you familiar with that place?" And I said, "Yes, it's my hometown." So it's another sign that it's a small world out there, and it's another reminder of Fredericton's charm, where you can have all of the amenities, but still live along a beautiful river, have an unrivaled trail system, and the most kindest people. So, Mayor, thank you for hosting all of the students who live here while we're going to law school. So that's my long-winded way of telling you that I'm from a small town on the south coast of Newfoundland and Labrador, and very proud of that. And it's no secret, of course, that many, hundreds, if not thousands perhaps, of Newfoundlanders and Labradorians have come here to UNB Law. And it's perhaps that's the reason why the dean likes to call it Newfoundland and Labrador's Law School as well. And there's no doubt that UNB Law is a venerable institution for New Brunswick, its community and the profession, but also for students from across Canada. I was asked to share with you why I chose UNB Law. So I've already hinted that perhaps there was really no other choice for me. for a variety of reasons. So many people have blazed the trail here before me, and in fact, now that you know I'm from Marystown, not many lawyers there, of course, but the top defense lawyer, the Crown prosecutor, and the Superior Court judge, all UNB Law grads. So really, there was no other place. And in the spring of 2015, I graduated from Memorial in political science and French, and it probably won't surprise anyone here that lots of my poli-sci classmates wanted to come and study law, and many of them went that fall to law. I instead went out knocking on doors in the general election and was elected to the legislature of Newfoundland and Labrador, and so I traded my opportunity to study the law for an opportunity, an honor to serve the people and help craft, amend, debate, and vote on the law. And I thought that that might have put an end to my hopes of attending law school, but just as the water finds its way downstream, well, here I am. And so when the opportunity came to go to law school, there really was no other place, and UNB felt so familiar. So I've told you why UNB was the choice. Now I'd like to tell you why I've confirmed that it was a good choice. And the answer is simple, and it's the people. Our students are second to none. The staff at our law school who support us are beyond supportive. And our professors are legal scholars of first rate and genuinely wonderful, lovely people. They work hard. They invest themselves in supporting us as we learn, try to secure jobs, try to do other things at law school, like work on the law journal or clinics and climate labs, researching, or competitively moot. Where else? What other law school do you have your moot coach, who's your professor, emailing you at 6 o'clock in the morning from her exercise bike saying, I have a new theory on how the victim was shot, And yes, I'm looking at you, Jane Thompson, so. In any event, I don't need to tell this very distinguished room of people how important people are to any success in any equation. And if quality of people are the foundation to success, then I suggest to each and every one of you that we are on very strong footing here at UNB Law. And we're also very fortunate to have the support of our university and administration, and I'm delighted now to introduce President Mazerolle. He is the 19th President and Vice-chancellor at UNB, and no stranger to the field of legal education or the law. He earned a BA in sociology from UNB, a Master's of Science degree in criminal justice from Northeastern University in Boston, and a PhD in criminology from the University of Maryland at College Park. His academic career has been focused on a wide range of issues in criminology, including violence and abuse prevention, policing, intimate partner violence, and criminal career progression. Prior to returning to UNB in 2019, he was based in Australia, where he served as the Director of Research and Prevention at the Queensland Crime and Misconduct Commission, Head of the Criminology Program at the University of Queensland, Director of the Key Centre for Ethics, Law and Justice and Governance at Griffith University, and a Pro-Vice-Chancellor responsible for arts, education and law at Griffith. I am now pleased to invite Dr. Mazerolle to say some words about the future of UNB Law.
Thank you, Mark, and thank you for that warm introduction. Colleagues, can you hear me in the back? Yeah, great. Well, it's so good to see so many people here at the Wu Center supporting our law school. It's a great pleasure to be here to talk about UNB Law and its prospects for the future. I was reflecting walking in today. Today is Black Friday, and I saw so many lawyers in the room. I thought, geez, is this a sign of the economy that it's going down? Everyone's here instead of out shopping. But what a great chance to come together to celebrate and to commend and think seriously about the future of our law school. So this really is a seminal time for UNB Law, poised as it is to really play a pivotal role in growing the University of New Brunswick and helping the University of New Brunswick realize its overall strategic vision for the future. So as law goes well, UNB goes well. Everybody in this room, whether you're a graduate, a friend, a supporter, a student, a staff, or faculty member, has a vested interest in where we go from here in the UNB Law and how do we get there. It's been 130 years since a remarkable cluster of St. John lawyer intellectuals, as legal historian David Bell has called them, founded what became the Faculty of Law at the University of New Brunswick. Over that century and a third, first led by dedicated practitioners under the auspices of King's College in Nova Scotia, and then beginning in 1923, as an academic faculty at UNB, initially located in St. John, this law school, our law school, has played a critically important role in legal education and the development of the legal profession and the judiciary in the province of New Brunswick, the region and beyond, and clearly Newfoundland as well. So we've been pivotal. The history is extraordinary. So as extraordinary as that 130-plus year history is, the future is what we're talking about today. And the future of UNB Law is unequivocally one of UNB's, indeed, one of my highest priorities. I am convinced that the bold strategic plan that the Faculty of Law is currently embarking on will help reestablish UNB Law as one of the very top 5 law schools in all of Canada. This effectively means that UNB Law has a major contribution to make to this university's strategic vision, UNB Toward 2030. And that vision, UNB Toward 2030, really rests on 5 separate pillars. And I'll just mention the connection here. The faculty's commitment to interdisciplinary collaboration, partnerships, and the renewed focus on scholarship, for example, aligns very strongly with the university's strategic pillar of research impact. We aim to mobilize knowledge to meet society's challenges such as climate change, social justice, and security in all of its forms. The faculty's plans for new programs, enhanced and innovative experiential learning through a new legal clinic, a legal observatory, and the first ever virtual reality law lab, and increased internship opportunities will make an enormous difference to our second strategic pillar, transformative education for the future. Engagement and impact, our third strategic pillar, are the watchwords of UNB Law as it serves and supports the legal community and government through visiting lectureships, appointment of a jurist in residence, hosting and broadcasting national and international events, as well as, and importantly, a well-resourced law library. In many ways, UNB Law already embodies our fourth strategic pillar, which is a people-centric, values-informed community, with its attention to student wellness, career placement services, student financial support, and mentorship. And I'm absolutely delighted that there's so many students in the room who are participating in this important event. Of particular significance is the faculty's meaningful response to the Truth and Reconciliation calls to action through curriculum reform, including a new course in Indigenous legal traditions. Finally, our fifth strategic pillar, a modern, integrated, and sustainable institution, is encompassed in the faculty's planned improvements to its facilities to strengthen its positive teaching and learning environments, to increase accessibility for students, staff, faculty, and visitors, introducing more natural light into the building, flexible classrooms and study spaces, and state-of-the-art technology, which we know is integral for cutting-edge learning and teaching pedagogy. As president, I am as determined to see UNB Law succeed as I know all of you are. Realizing the strategic plan of our law school as a part of the strategic plan of the university generally will take imagination, it'll take courage, it'll take concerted effort, and of course it will take resources. In due course, we'll be turning to our graduates, to our friends, to government, and to the philanthropic community for demonstrated belief in and support of UNB Law. And I want to close by saying I look forward to joining you on this worthwhile endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Merci. Please start the salads. I should have probably told you that already. So we're going to be doing a bit of walking and chewing gum at the same time today, eating and listening. So please, bon appetit. The lunch will be coming now shortly, and then I'll be back up in between lunch and dessert. Thank you. Thank you. And please continue eating, but we're going to next hear from the Dean of UNB Law, Mike Marin. And the first time that I saw Dean Marin in person, because our first year was all online because of the pandemic, it was at last year's Pro Bono Students Canada event when he came to speak to those of us who were in the program. And I think as you can tell when he speaks, and you'll hear when I read his background, that he is rather quite accomplished. He is a mentor to many, I believe, might I say myself included. Both he and Professor Panezi are my MOOC coaches this year. And he is deeply passionate about the law. And most importantly, he's very committed to the welfare and success of our students. I've had the occasion to see him work behind the scenes, and I know how hard that he works. In fact, we were emailing just a few weeks ago, I believe, and I thought we were in a very good conversation. I look on Twitter, and Dominic LeBlanc is tweeting a picture of he and the dean up in Ottawa. So I'm saying, well, this man can really multitask. So, that I think shows the multi-dimensional leader that our dean is. He's a true steward of our institution and its future, and that's why we're here today, to celebrate the future. Professor Marin joined UNB Law in 2016 and became our Associate Dean in 2018 and our Dean in 2021. During the past 6 years, he's had a number of leadership roles, most notably the year-long development of the faculty strategic plan, which we're here to celebrate today. Dean Marin earned a law degree from the University of Ottawa, an MA in public policy from Carleton University, and an LLM from the University of Cambridge, where he studied as a Gates Scholar. Before embarking on an academic career, he practiced corporate and commercial litigation at an international law firm in New York City and clerked at the Supreme Court of Canada for the Honourable Ian Binney. Corporate governance, financial regulation, civil liability of corporate agents, and economic aspects of the Constitution are his areas of expertise. And he devotes significant time to the legal community, serving on the Atlantic Regional Committee of the Supreme Court Advocacy Institute, the Council of the Law Society of New Brunswick, and the Council of the Canadian Bar Association New Brunswick branch. Dean Marin was recently named a King's Counsel. Please join me in welcoming the Dean, Michael Marin.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. This is such a special event. I see so many people who have made UNB Law what it is today. Our professors and our staff, both current and retired, and our outstanding graduates who project UNB Law's legacy in everything they do. I'm also very pleased that we're joined by some of our current students who represent UNB Law's bright future. And I'm grateful that so many of our partners in the legal profession and the community are here. Judges, representatives of the law societies, law foundations, the CBA, the City of Fredericton, and the government of New Brunswick. We appreciate the many ways that you contribute to our faculty. I want to share with you some personal reflections about what makes UNB Law special and why I think it's poised to affirm its place as one of Canada's best law schools. Those of you who've worked with me in the faculty know that I spend a lot of time walking the halls, studying the faces and names on the class composites. It's something that I started doing when I arrived at UNB Law in 2016. As someone who wasn't so fortunate to attend UNB Law as a student, I wanted to learn about its people and its history. J'étais surpris par tous les noms et tous les visages que je reconnaissais. Le nombre de diplômés de notre faculté qui ont apporté des contributions remarquables au droit et à la société m'a profondément impressionné. Et vu que UNB Law est l'une des plus petites facultés de droit au Canada, l'impact de ces diplômés m'a semblé d'autant plus étonnant. La faculté n'avait pas l'habitude de se vanter de l'influence démesurée de ses diplômés, ce qui reflète l'humilité qui caractérise les Canadiens de l'Atlantique. To give you just one example of UNB Law's impact, I'll share a story that Justice Green, who's here this afternoon, tells the incoming class every year. When he was Attorney General of New Brunswick, he discovered that at one point in time, 5 of his counterparts across the country had ties to UNB Law. 3 were graduates and 2 were former professors. That one of Canada's smallest law schools in one of Canada's smallest regions was on the resumes of more than a third of this country's chief legal officers is astounding. It's a statistic that's too significant to be a fluke. And the more I studied UNB Law's history, the more amazing leaders I encountered. When we set out to develop UNB Law's strategic plan a few years ago, it was critical that we understood the core of this success. Whatever the special recipe was, we needed to keep it. And the way we found out was by asking our people through a series of surveys about UNB Law's strengths and opportunities. Our graduates were especially passionate in telling us what makes UNB Law so special. It was the intimacy of the learning environment, the personal attention they received from faculty and staff, the core curriculum that focuses on the fundamentals of legal doctrine, legal analysis, and legal communication. What I want you to know is that our faculty remains committed to the things that have served it so well throughout its 130-year history. In launching our strategic plan, we are not reinventing UNB Law. Instead, we're affirming, investing in, and extending what makes it so special. And one of the ways we're extending these core values is into the area of experiential learning, particularly clinical legal education. Some of you were on hand earlier this week for the opening of the UNB Legal Clinic, which is located at the Fredericton Downtown Community Health Center. To my knowledge, this is the only legal clinic in Canada that's embedded with a healthcare center, which allows us to be part of providing truly integrated services to our community's most vulnerable people. This is a natural extension of UNB Law's Career Ready program. It reflects our close ties to the legal profession in New Brunswick and Atlantic Canada. I often remind our students that fundamentally lawyers are helpers. We help people and society solve problems, resolve disputes, and create opportunity. We need to instill those values in our students while they're in law school, and there's no better way to do that than by engaging them in the practice of law, particularly assisting those who can't afford a lawyer. For our students, the benefits of experiential learning aren't just practical. By taking on the responsibility of helping a person with major challenges, someone facing eviction, someone who's lost their job, someone who's been denied social benefits, our students get a major dose of perspective. They're reminded what a privilege it is to study law, to be empowered to change another person's life for the better. Law school isn't about grades or fancy jobs. It's about developing the knowledge, skills, and character to join a profession that exists to serve the public interest. And the philosophy behind our plans for the future is rooted in this core principle. If we can focus the energy of our students on serving others and contributing to projects that make a real difference in the world, I'm convinced that their law school experience will be more meaningful and rewarding. When we think beyond our own circumstances and desires and devote ourselves to a larger cause, we discover a sense of purpose. And that sense of purpose gives us confidence, it gives us pride, and it gives us the ability to overcome adversity. These are the qualities that we're trying to instill in our students. And this focus on service isn't limited to experiential learning. It extends to legal research and graduate studies. The reason why our professors are engaged in scholarship is because they want to apply their intellect to solve problems in society. One of my mentors, the Honorable Ian Binney, encouraged me to become a law professor because through our research, we can improve the administration of justice. That's why another big priority of our faculty is boosting our research profile, and we're already making major progress on this front. In January, UNB Law will welcome Dr. Maria Panezi, the Canada Research Chair in Digital Information Law and Policy. Dr. Panezi's research agenda exemplifies the relevance and promise of legal scholarship. Dr. Panezi will build a research team focused on developing best practices in e-justice, which is about how technology can be used to improve legal processes. She's keen to work with our courts, administrative tribunals, the Department of Justice, and the legal profession on critical initiatives like e-filing, e-discovery, and virtual hearings. If implemented well, these things have the potential to lower costs and improve access to justice. And that's just one example. Our professors have a long record of meaningful contributions to legislative and policy reform, as well as the common law and public education. This is something we're proud of at UNB Law and that we want to build upon because it reflects our commitment to service. The last message I want to convey to you this afternoon is that it's time for UNB Law to brag a little. A few years ago, on the satirical Twitter account Not Real LLP, this is what was said about our faculty. Quote, undoubtedly home to Canada's best potato law program, our firm's experience is that the faculty's graduates are able to mash and roast opposing counsel. I can assure you that things much less kind were said about most other Canadian law schools. But I actually enjoy this humorous description of our faculty because it captures the idea that our graduates are formidable and not to be underestimated, and that's for sure. But it also reflects the fact that maybe people don't know enough about us. We all know how special UNB Law is, what a gift it is to our city, our province, our region, and our country. And I think it's time to tell that story. That's what we've been focused on for the last several years, and that's what we're doing here today. Now, don't get me wrong, I never want us to lose the humility that defines this institution. But we need to focus on projecting and celebrating our greatness, not to boast or out of a sense of superiority, but to make sure that this special 130-year-old institution is recognized as a place that makes important contributions to society, a place that students, faculty, and staff aspire to join, and a place that we are all proud of. If we can allow ourselves to do that, I know that UNB Law will continue its enviable history of leadership for generations to come. Thank you.
Well, whoever wrote the tweet was surely from Prince Edward Island making jokes with potatoes. Well, thank you, Dean Marin, and if you wanted any more evidence that this is a progressive leader, he came up with an iPad and I'm still up here with paper, so. And you know, the students that are here today, we will become the alumni of tomorrow, and just as all of you folks who are here as alumni today, I'm confident we will all each play a role, as you are now doing, in championing this law school for the future. And under its leadership and the plan that's been put forward, I think there's lots to come in the years ahead. So now we're going to have dessert, and then we'll have Professor Panezi up, and we'll watch a video. So stay tuned. So, as Dean Marin has eloquently explained, leadership and the development of leaders and the celebration of leaders are fundamental aspects of the core values of UNB Law. And no one is more important to shaping leaders than our faculty members. Among those who most recently joined UNB Law is Dr. Maria Panezi, who specializes in the interaction of national strategies on climate change and the World Trade Organization law. Her courses on international trade law and jurisprudence focus on some of the crucial issues of our time. Dr. Panezi earned an LLB from the University of Athens in her native Greece, an LLM from New York University, and a PhD from Osgoode Hall. She herself has served in leadership positions at the Center for International Governance Innovation and the Balsillie School of International Affairs. A former visiting scholar at Harvard Law, Dr. Panezi came to UNB in 2019, and she is truly an example of the type of subject matter experts that we as students have the privilege of having access to. And I now give you Dr. Panezi.
Thank you, Mark, for this very kind introduction. President Mazerolle, Dean Marin, distinguished guests, esteemed colleagues, alumni, and friends. It is a great honor to have been asked to speak at this signature event unveiling the strategic plan of UNB Law, a faculty I was proud to join 3 years ago. I have been very fortunate in my career to have studied law and held professional positions in 3 countries, giving me a broad perspective by which to assess UNB Law. I can say without hesitation, UNB Law is a wonderful school, upholding a standard of excellence in its programs, the quality of its faculty and staff, the caliber of its students, the achievements of its graduates, and its commitment to serving the legal community and society as a whole. A culture of leadership is important, particularly when you're defining your aspirations for the future. We see this reflected in the strategic vision for this institution and the strategic plan for our faculty. To be part of an organization that is forward-looking, striving towards ambitious goals, and reaching for the top is very meaningful to me. It is the reason why I chose UNB Law. Many others share my enthusiasm for and belief in UNB Law, which brings me to this video we're going to see now. It is a testament to the extraordinary impact this school has had on the lives of its graduates, on practitioners, and on those like me who have found an inspiring home here at UNB Law. Please join me in watching this video and feel free to turn your chairs. It's a rather long video.
That was a great video. Thank you to those who put that together, including Ed Bowes, our public relations officer, and Ty, and Victoria as well, who was our narrator. Thank you so very much. And I can say when I was watching that video, seeing the successes that we have had, but also seeing the path that is charted forward, it certainly, it summons our pride and it steers us on the path forward. And I was thinking about the comments in the video about, the unique quality that UNB Law has as a smaller law school. And I thought back to something that I heard, I believe, our former dean and former Premier McLaughlin say at one point about Prince Edward Island, that, and I hope I'm getting it right, it was a few years ago, we are small but we are mighty. And I think if that doesn't encapsulate UNB Law and its future, I don't know what does. So I think we're small, but we are mighty, and we will become mightier indeed. So this video will be appearing on the UNB Law website in the near future, and which is a testament, as Dr. Panezi said, to the exceptional impact of our school. Nous publierons également les points forts de cet événement sur le site web afin que ceux qui n'ont pas pu être ici puissent entendre parler de l'importance des aspirations et des réalisations du programme de droit de UNB. Merci de votre appui et d'être ici aujourd'hui. On behalf of the university and the UNB Law School, thank you all for coming. There are some, I'll call them loot bags on the way out. So please spread the word. UNB Law is where leaders are made, and for all the successes that we've enjoyed, I truly remain firm in believing that the best is still yet to come. Merci beaucoup. À la prochaine. Thank you. Good afternoon.